Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I have sat here listening and I am quite perplexed. It does take me back to my legal days. When I think about a subpoena, one of the things that we normally look at when we are trying to determine whether or not contempt is going to be ushered into the conversation is whether or not there's been substantial compliance.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're diving into a clip featuring Repty Jasmine Crockett, who's not holding back on the hypocrisy she sees in Congress. She's bringing the heat, and we're here to break down every fiery moment. Let's get into it.
And what it means to actually look like you have substantially complied. It means that you're taking reasonable steps to follow a court order, that you're acting in good faith, and typically that serves as a defense. So if we are still crafting the parameters of said subpoena, for instance, my colleague, Mr. Walkinshaw, just asked whether or not this would be limited to the Epstein subject matter. For me, if they responded at all, then there is some sort of compliance, which they did. They didn't just throw the bird. They didn't just say, forget it. But more importantly, I just want to point out that we are living in an age of hypocrisy, because my other colleague just pointed out that Mr. Perry sits here and somehow sits in judgment of others. Frankly, that is what people are kind of getting annoyed by, is the hypocrisy, because Mr. Perry still has an outstanding subpoena that was never complied with.
See, this is exactly what makes people throw their hands up in frustration. It's the classic rules for thee but not for me playbook. You can't stand on a high horse demanding compliance when your own backyard is full of unfulfilled subpoenas. It's like demanding your neighbor trim their bushes while your own lawn is an overgrown jungle. The optics are terrible, and it completely undermines any credibility. This isn't just annoying, it's a fundamental breakdown of trust in our institutions.
In addition to that, he talked about we need to care for the victims. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, and I will yield my time. But I don't believe that Mr. Perry ever signed off on the discharge petition in the first place. So I don't know if he is just doing what he believes is politically expedient, but I will tell you this. I refuse to be a puppet, because Democrats tend to be of goodwill. We always want to do the right thing. We are always trying to follow the rules and follow the law. Unfortunately, we are living with an administration that does not care. We just want some type of parity. So for instance, we all want to hear from President Clinton. If for some reason you said, we will give you, say, Pam Bondi, and then we've got President Clinton with it, or say maybe President Trump and President Clinton, two presidents, because we know that both presidents actually had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. But what looks political and looks like one can get away with everything, especially since that's what the Supreme Court has stated, that's why it looks like it's just gamesmanship. You only care about following the rules so long as you can invoke those rules on what is typically perceived as your political enemies. This is why we are falling apart in this country.
Bingo! Reppers Crockett just hit the nail on the head. This isn't about justice. It's about weaponizing the system against anyone who isn't on your team. When adherence to rules becomes a partisan cudgel, the entire system grinds to a halt. It's like a game of dodgeball where only one side is allowed to throw. We can't pretend to uphold the law when it's selectively applied. This isn't just falling apart, it's actively being dismantled by those who claim to protect it.
We are supposed to be about checks and balances. It should not matter whether or not you're associated with the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, independent, or whomever, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're middle class, whether you're a black immigrant, or whatever. But it seems like we only have a political agenda in this committee, and that's why everything goes off the rails. You only love law enforcement when they're going after black, brown, immigrants, that kind of folk, right? But on January 6th, you didn't care about law enforcement because they still don't have their plaques up. We continue to do the right thing and say, yes, apply the rules equally across the board, and then y'all play in our faces and you only apply it to one side. I am asking for one commitment, and then I will yield to the ranking member. Mr. Chair, will you commit to me as the chair of probably the most important committee in this Congress, especially in this moment where people are concerned about the level of corruption that exists within this committee, will you promise me that you are good for doing whatever is right and following the evidence, no matter who is on the other side of that evidence?
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Reppers Crockett is asking for a basic commitment to integrity, something that should be a given in Congress. But in today's political climate, even a promise to follow evidence feels like a revolutionary act. It highlights the deep skepticism we all feel. We want facts, not politically convenient narratives. It's a simple request, yet it feels monumental because the expectation of impartiality has been so eroded.
Yes, and that is
okay.
why I subpoenaed the estate. And we had no idea nobody knew
I
what was in
understand,
the
but-
estate documents. And I, without hesitation, subpoenaed the estate. We've subpoenaed the Department of Justice.
And that's where we got the birthday letter. We subpoenaed
Because
the
of-
estate. We got the birthday letter, but we can't just get the evidence and then not follow up on the evidence that we actually get.
And that's a wrap on Reppers Crockett's powerful take. She really called out the hypocrisy and the selective application of justice that so many of us are tired of seeing. What did you think of her points? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into California politics.
I will relinquish the rest of my time to the chair.